Who are you? Who are you? And what defines you? Are there certain rules, definition, criteria that then confine you based on how you define you? Now, when was the first time that that definition was created? How far back did it first originate? You see, for most of us, it's a moment or little moments in our lives when an event occurs. Whether you remember it today or not, whether you can recall it, whether it's conscious or subconscious, something happened. Maybe someone said something or someone did something or something occurred, an event in which an external definition was created. And then from that, an internal meaning was generated. So in my life, those moments occurred over a period of time when I felt like I didn't belong. Like the people in my life didn't know how to love me, didn't show up for me in the ways I wanted them to. And wherever I looked, I didn't see anybody that looked like me. I didn't feel like anybody felt like me. And I was made to feel like that version of me was wrong. And through those external definitions that were created of me, I took away the internal meaning that I am not enough. I am not lovable. I am not worthy. You see, we have a tendency to have those external definitions confine and define who we be. And then we use that as the lens of how we move through life and who we then become. Has there been a time in your life when maybe something happened that then left you feeling like you are not enough? Like you are not loved? Like you are not worthy? Me too. See, it's those external definitions from which we then derive the internal meaning, the I am statements that confine and define who we are, who we be, and then what we become. Now, it's okay if you're fine being defined as who you are, confined by those past definitions, okay. But if you are someone like me, and if we have a dream that is bigger than us, a goal that is further than us, a vision that is higher than us, then in order for us to step into that realm of possibility, to be all that we can be, we have to find a way to not be confined and defined by what everybody else thinks we should be. So let's imagine just for a minute what it would be like if we could step into that world of possibility. Actually, why don't you come with me? Why don't we step into that world of possibility? Now, what do you get to see? Who do you get to be? What goals and dreams and visions of yours now turn into reality in that world of possibility? Wow. So to be in that world, to be all that we can be, here's what I found. Your past has the ability to refine you if you're willing to go back and refine you. Now, I don't mean refined as in R-E-F-I-N-E-D. Sure, in the refining, there's a process of refining. But what I mean here is to refine, R-E-F-I-N-D, to be willing to go back and refine that little inner child version of you and that little inner child version of me before the world told us who we should be. Being willing to go back and unpack and unlearn and unbecome everything that we're not, so we can go back and reach that version of you and me before the world told us what and who we should be, changed our perspectives into what we should see, what we can and cannot believe. So how do we get back to that version of you and me? You see, I'm reminded of this scene from one of my favorite movies, Disney's The Lion King, where Simba and Rafiki are mid-conversation. And all of a sudden, Rafiki takes out this stick and whacks Simba on the head. And Simba's like, ow, geez, what was that for? And Rafiki goes, well, it doesn't matter. It's in your past. And Simba goes, yeah, but it still hurts. To which Rafiki replies, yeah, well, your past, it can hurt. But the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You see, for so long, for 30 years, I was running from my past. To be honest with you, I didn't even know that I was running from my past. But what I later realized was that my past was running me. Because I was still confined and defined by what everybody else thought I should be. You see, this version of me that you meet today, this refined version, you meet somebody that is confident, certain, somebody that is living congruently as who they are, comfortable in their own skin. And today, I get the opportunity to work with other people, to help others stand, stay, and soar in their truth. But my past, my story, was so far from this reality. You see, I grew up back in India, back in the 1980s in Calcutta. And growing up here, I was told that everything about me was wrong. Back then, my differences were not celebrated. At every opportunity, I was berated. You're worthless. You're useless. I am less than. You'll never be anything. You'll never become anything. I am worth nothing. Don't walk like that. Don't sit like that. Don't stand like that. Don't even show up like that. I shouldn't show up as me. But what about me was so different? What about me was so wrong? You see, there were no answers. Bullied at school and misunderstood at home, all that I heard was that I didn't belong. And as every bit of my identity was dissected and stripped away, it cost me in more ways than I could pay. It cost me my confidence, my ability to speak, my self-worth, and my self-belief. After a while, not being seen or heard was actually a relief. So I turned off the light in my room and then I turned down the light in me. And I lived a shadowed version of what everybody else thought I should be, confined and defined by their expectations of me. You see, we will always be confined by however we're defined. So I ask you today, what past definitions of yours are keeping you confined? What is it costing you today? And more importantly, what parts of you have you lost or are you losing along the way? For me, this person that stands here in front of you today delivering this TEDx talk, till only a few years ago, was completely terrified of public speaking. Not because I had done it before and somebody told me I was bad at it. No, you see that little inner child version of me, they stood on stages, shared a message and was confident. But because of that narrative, don't walk like that, don't sit like that, don't stand like that, don't even show up like that. I thought that I shouldn't be all that I couldn't speak like that, so I didn't speak. Forget even speaking, I was the kid that sat in the back of the classroom, unable to even read. I remember the teacher walking in, and I picked up the book to read, and my knees would just knock, my hands would shake, my chest would pound, and as I looked down, the words on the page would just jump out. And as I opened my mouth to speak, no words would come out. Because now I had become that narrative. I believe that I am worthless, I am useless, I will be nothing, and I will become nothing. You see, this defined kid then became the confined adult. who sat behind meeting rooms unable to raise their hand and speak up, even when they knew the answer to the question, even when they had an idea to share, even when they wanted to speak up. Because all I was hearing was, don't walk like that. Don't sit like that. Don't stand like that. Don't even show up like that. Don't show up as me. Don't be me. Well, the only question I had then was, if I can't be me, who else can I be? And that question led me back to walk down through my past, to be willing to go back and find the moments in which those definitions were created. Be willing to find those moments and then grow through each of them. And then when I was able to find those moments, be willing to redefine what I made them mean by asking myself, what really did happen? And now, is there a new definition I can take forward? Is there a new reframe? And then moving forward and taking refined, aligned action, one step at a time, one day at a time. And in doing that, I was then able to go back and refine me. That little inner child version of me. Go back and look them in the eye. Give them a great big high five. Hold them, hug them, and say, thank you. Thank you for keeping my dream alive. And now, we get to walk through life, my little inner child and me, and we get to step into that world of possibility and dream and be and design and create whatever we want to be and turn our dreams into reality. Because now we know, don't we? And now I know that I can go back and find that version of me. And now I know like I know. It doesn't matter how I walk. It doesn't matter how I stand, how I speak, or how I show up, because I get to be all of me. So I ask you, are you ready to go back and refine you? Are you ready to be all of you? Let me walk you through what you got to do. The first step is you got to be willing to go back and find the moments in which those definitions were created. Find them and then be willing to grow through each of those moments. See, so often we're just comfortable in going through and getting through life. And that's okay if you're simply comfortable in surviving. Okay. But if you're committed to thriving, it's about going back and finding those moments in which those definitions were created and then being willing to grow through everything that we've been through, thereby building resilience and thereby taking learnings from each one into the next. And then when you found those moments, the next step is to be willing to redefine what you made them mean. How do we do that? By stepping into those moments with all of our current knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and learning, and asking, what really did happen? What did I make it mean? And now is there a new definition, a new reframe, a new perspective, a new lens that I can take forward into all that I get to be? You see, for so long, I thought that my differences were the reason that I was berated. But today I understand that my differences is what gets me celebrated. Today I understand that our differences are our unique superpower. For so long, I thought that because people around me didn't understand me, it meant that I was not worth understanding. And because growing up, the people around me didn't have the capability to love me or didn't know how to love me the way I wanted them to, I made it mean that I was not lovable. But you see, that was never my story. It was never my narrative. It was simply external definitions that were created. So I ask you today, what external definitions are holding you back? What stories and narratives are you carrying today? And what questions can you ask of yourself to redefine and reframe what you get to take out into all you get to be? And once you've redefined that, the next step is to take refined, aligned action, one day at a time, one step at a time. But you see, what happens is when we come out with that new reframe, we want to do and be everything. And at this point, it can get a little overwhelming. So what I like to say here is to focus on the power of one. What is one thing that you can do differently today to change your tomorrow? Or what is one thing you can do one more time, one more day to change and be a little more of who you get to be? One more sit-up, one more phone call, one more person that you can reach. One more thing that you can do, one more day, one more time. Because if you are committed to going back and finding the moments in which those definitions were created, being willing to redefine what you made them mean, and then stepping out to take refined, aligned action one day at a time, one step at a time, you too can go back and refine that little inner child version of you. So I ask you today, are you ready? Are you willing to not be confined and defined by your past, but are you willing to be refined by it? Are you willing to go back and refine you? Because if you can refine you and I continue to refine me, I dream of a world where we can come together as a refined we. Thank you.